Hello, my name is Per Cabenius. I'm going to show you how to run an RWO Bilgewater separator. I'm going to guide you through this whole process and give you some good advice how to make it possible. First of all, we have a drawing showing the system. To start with, you have the Bilgewater tank where all the bilge water is collected. You can pump it through the system passing three-way valve. And you're pumping with our internal pump, and then it's passing an emulsion bag filter, and then passing through three-way valve again and all the way to the Bilgewater settling tank. Here we collect the Bilgewater. We add some Bilgewater flocculant, and that makes the Bilgewater to settle. So you have the lighter part, the oily part, up in the top, and in the bottom you have the heavier part of the water, and then you have clean water in the middle of the tank. And you have several options. You go back to the Bilgewater tank, and it's possible to make a round filtration of the Bilgewater, which means that you let it pass the three-way valve, and then it's coming back to the Bilgewater tank, and then you can collect a lot of dirt from the Bilgewater tank. And now you have the last option, and that is to round filtrate the water in the Bilgewater settling tank. And it's the same there. You can collect a lot of dirt that has been collected in the Bilgewater settling tank. And finally, we start the Bilgewater separator, and the water will pass through the pipes, but before that you have to follow the amount of water in the Bilgewater tank. And you can drain out some of the dirty parts of the Bilgewater, and then you have the top, the oily part, and then you let it run through the pipe to the Bilgewater separator. And here you have also a smaller emulsion 5 micron bag filter, and then it's passing inside the Bilgewater separator, passing in through the Colliser filter, and then out to the sea through the overboard valve. And here is the emulsion filter, a small description of how it looks like. It's made of stainless steel. The bigger type we can see here, we have just before the Bilgewater settling tank. And then we have a smaller filter like this one. Here we can show the way of the Bilgewater through the Bilgewater filter. The filter inside here is 5 micron filter. Now it's time for pumping Bilgewater from the Bilgewater tank to the Bilgewater settling tank. First of all, we remove the dirty filter from previous pumping, and it is the big bag filter, and it's a 50 micron filter. We collect a lot of dirt in this filter. These filters are very good. You can burn them in an incinerator quite easily. They are made of some cloth and plastic. And now it's time to open the valve to the Bilgewater tank. We have our 3-way valve, and there showing all the way to the pump in the filter and then to the Bilgewater settling tank. Now we start the pump, and we check the pressure. There's also a safety valve on the pump that opens if the filter gets clogged. And we also have the overflow sea glass that we check when the tank is full. And starting coming some liquid there, then we can stop the pump. And now we open up the filter again, just to be able to pour some Bilgewater flocculant to the filter. And we are using Unitor Bilgewater flocculant. And for 1000 liters we use 0.5 liters of Bilgewater flocculant. You can also use a dosing pump, but we find this much easier. And when this is done, we put on the top again, and then we are able to round filtrate the bilge water and to have it added to the bilge water settling tank. And now it's time to prepare for the pumping, and that is after 24 hours since we pumped it to the bilge water settling tank, and we use heating on. Now we will clean the inner part of the pre-filter, also Amazon filter. We try to keep it as clean as possible. The cleanliness is the key for success. Always try to keep everything clean. If you are planning to do a modification like this, my recommendation is to first of all deliver your bilge water to a truck ashore, make a good tank cleaning, then open up the bilge water separator, remove an old dirty coalescer filter, put a new one in, and check that the non-return valve in the bottom is correct, tightened, and also the diffuser that enters through the coalescer filter, check that it is correct tightened. So we have experienced that sometimes you believe that it is tightened, but you will have the water bypassing. It will not pass through the filter, the coalescer filter. It will pass immediately from the non-return valve to the pump and out, and then you will have problem. You will not have a proper pumping. Here we have been filling water in the filter. That makes it easier to pump, because you get vacuum in the filter when you start the bilge water separator. Open the valves. You have the valves on the bilge water settling tank to open, and also you drain out a little bit of bilge water, and here you have a valve that you can see the condition of the bilge water in the tank. You can see it is quite clear, and this is a way to check the condition during the pumping. And here you open up the overboard valve, and now it's time for startup of the bilge water separator. You open up the valves for the sample probe for the bilge water sensor, The content of oil will increase in the beginning, but it will stop at 14 ppm and then it will go down again to lower levels. We managed to run this Bilgewater separator between 1 and 3 ppm. For our ship it's approved for 15 ppm, so I think we are quite successful with this setup. Now we check the condition, and still you can see that it is clean water. And we check the vacuum in the Bilgewater separator. And we're having a good content at 1 ppm. We managed to be at the highest environment class on this Bilgewater pumping. And now we can see that we had got some dirt coming out in the condition valve, and it's time to stop the Bilgewater pumping. We don't want to have dirt enter into the Bilgewater separator, so we stop when the level of the settling tank comes down to the condition valve, and then we will have only oily content water in the Bilgewater settling tank. We close all the valves. Close the valve on the settling tank, and finally we close the valve overboard. And the summary we have is that you shouldn't have any detergents that are not approved for engine spaces. Example of approved detergents are Aquatough and Aquabrake. Sewage in Bilgewater is not a good combination. Add chlorine to the bilge well. Coalescer filter cannot be replaced with some other type of filter cloth. And if someone asking you if it's possible to run the RWO Bilgewater separator legally, and I will say yes, it is. And I'm going back to some questions regarding how can I make this modification successful. As I said before, cleanliness is the main key for success. First of all, empty your Bilgewater tank, clean it, deliver the Bilgewater to a trucker shore. Be absolutely sure that the tank is clean. Clean also the Bilgewater settling tank. Check that it is in good condition. And you should also open up the Bilgewater separator, replace the old collector filter with a new one, and also clean the Bilgewater separator inside. And be aware of the new non-return valve in the bottom of the collector filter. It must be correctly tightened to the bottom of the Bilgewater separator. I have seen a lot of times that you believe that it is correct tightened, but you get strange results when you're running the Bilgewater separator because the Bilgewater is leaking out depending on how you have been doing the tightening of the diffuser on the collector filter. You can also have sometimes problems with when you start up, you get high oil content even when you flush with water, and the reason for that is that the glass in the sensor is contaminated with some probably iron acid. You will have to use some citrus. You can use fresh citrus and drip it inside and let it stay there for 24 hours, or you can have some other acids to remove the debris that has been collected on the glass. But when you have done this cleaning, you should be able to run the Bilgewater separator again. And as I said before, it is not impossible to run an RWO Bilgewater separator, but you have to make this modification with this Amazon bag filters. Regarding the mesh size of the filters, we have for our smaller pre-filter 5 micron. That works perfect. And for our filter after the bilge pump, we have 50 micron. That is to collect bigger particles. And I wish you good luck.